So, Liv and Maddie season 3 um actually only has one actor from, a different Disney show showing up. And it's from someone that's in a future Disney show. Cuz this season came out in like 2016, I think. Um and the show Stuck in the Middle, I'm pretty sure started in 2017, maybe 2016. But the little girl that's, a bit of a brat, Daphne, and Stuck in the Middle, she shows up in Liv and Maddie, and Maddie accidentally gives her coal. Um, and then she convinces her that it's like a special thing, and if you get that, um, it gives you like something with Santa or whatever. And her dad is playing Santa. They reuse the dad for stuff, even though he has a job. He is the coach in the high school, and then later a coach in the university. But they use him a lot for stuff like that. They also have like this evil um grill, and I'm pretty sure the dad voices it. Um, Kind of silly. There was like 3 episodes. The last 2 episodes, and I think the 8th episode were ones that I really remember. They really stuck with me. There's one where Liv realizes that because Willow points it out, actually. The character that's supposed to be dumb, weird, and only obsessed with Joey points out something useful. She says that Liv was only getting questions about what she wears, how she dresses, but her co star was actually getting questions about the show. So Liv goes on to try and change that. You know, it is something I really like. I liked how they first approached it, but then the episode just kind of drags on and they really don't do much with it. Liv just ends up like saying something in one interview and complaining about that, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, I changed something for young girls all over the world." Like they could have handled it so much better. I really liked how it was starting and did not like how it goed. It's not that I don't like the idea. It was just kind of boring how they went with it. Like, why do it at all? They did have a famous actor in that episode that I kind of recognized, but for my knowledge, I don't think she was in a Disney show before. Though I did mention Kevin James, so Kristen Bell was her name. And she shows up and doesn't really do much. But it was cool to have her on the show. But yeah, the girl from Stuck in the Middle is the only one that shows up. So we also have this whole thing where, Liv does not want to leave her sister again. But her show is getting moved to Los Angeles. No warning at all. They just walk up to her and go, "Hey, we're moving to Los Angeles. You have till tomorrow." Even though the only reason she got the show was because, like, the people really wanted her for the show. So they moved it to her hometown. But for whatever reason, no fucking explanation, they just changed their mind and they want to go back to the original location, Los Angeles. But Liv does not want to leave her sister behind. She could not do that to her. They make up a plan to go to college together, and she quits the show and gets herself killed off and leaves the role to her co star. I think his name is Josh. He really isn't that memorable. He dates Maddie for a little bit. She breaks up with him to get back with Diggy, and Diggy really doesn't do that much because they threw it in the last 2 episodes. So, very weird. And I did forget to mention the fact that Liv and Holden basically cheated. Makes them both very unlikable, and Holden barely has any personality to begin with. So, um, yeah. In the second season, they play some music together, so that gives them kissy vibes. And they are about to kiss each other, but Willow stops them. she was about to betray her friend, and they just kind of glance over that. And she stays friends with her, and she ends up talking about how she should have told her the truth about how that Holden had a crush on her. She shouldn't have hid that from her. Like, that wasn't even the worst thing she did. She tried to fucking kiss her boyfriend. The only thing that stopped her was Willow. I really don't like Liv. She just gets worse and worse as the seasons go on. Maddie has her problems, yes, but she is not a dick like her sister is. Um, she definitely has her moments though, but I really like Maddie. I don't like Liv. She just makes some awful decisions, and I don't like Holden either. He really doesn't offer much, and he just kind of disappears from the show. He might be in the next season, he might not. I could give less of a fuck. Um, but yeah, he was like some dude that stole her eraser once, and like, no, it was a pencil or whatever, and she never forgave him. And then he's just automatically fine with her stealing his grandpa's statue um, for his wake. It's very weird, and that happened in the last season. It's something that just, their relationship's very fucking weird. They have one episode together dating, and it's because he doesn't even listen to her. She says, hey, not really gonna be able to do date night because this happened, and he just shows up anyway, buys her pizza, and he's like, oh, I thought you were fucking lying. And jeez, this is the guy we're supposed to like. And he says like all of her excuses were very weird, but she only had like one thing, and that was like earlier she said, I have to do work and I have to help Parker with his homework. That's not a very bad excuse, but he thought that was a really weird excuse for whatever reason. Then the second one was the fact that Parker, messed up the project. He messed up the homework. So I really don't get how he thought she was lying. Holden is a fucking weirdo. They don't have the character that was in the finale of the last season, which is very weird. I mean, she didn't have a huge role, but she was in the finale. She was there. The girl that played Lou in Bunked became like a reoccurring character. They get rid of her. She does not show up once this season. But Staines, the weird character from season 1, is brought back. And she only gets one episode, though. And I think maybe 2 lines. So they really did her dirty. They bring in these grandmas, and they're apparently twins, too. Liv apparently likes one more than the other, and the other one's not insulted in any way. She's just like, oh, I knew it would be such a letdown if I didn't come to do your speech, so I had my sister pretend to be me. Like, don't you think the sister would be a little bit insulted that she has to pretend to be someone else to be liked by Liv? But I guess they weren't thinking you would think like that, or think about it more. It's just like, fuck that, Grandma. The other one matters. Then eventually Maddie and Liv get into a fight because Maddie finally gets a chance to go to her dream college that they would not let her get into for whatever reason. Probably for exactly this crazy season finale. But she immediately accepts it because they don't give her time for whatever reason. They say that she has to accept it like immediately. And then she goes and tells Liv, hey, I'm fucking leaving you. Which, Liv is a little bit rightfully angry because they had already agreed they were going to go to college together. But at the same time, she can't blame her for her quitting the show. She chose to quit the show. I gave up Voltage for you. No, you chose to do that. Maddie was perfectly fine with you keeping the show. You chose to do that. But she gets really pissed at Maddie. They end up apologizing to each other. And they decide to stay in Los Angeles with their aunt, and Liv's gonna go to SSCU too. even though she didn't get a scholarship for it. Like, why does Maddie have to get it but not Liv? And then eventually something they set up in, I think, episode 8 or 9 was that the house would collapse if they moved a book. And Joey stupidly removes the book and puts a fucking fitness ball in his dad's lawn clippers to hold the house up. So it falls down, leaving to the very last part of the episode saying, oh, hey, now they're all going to live in Los Angeles instead of just Liv and Maddie. Because they couldn't have kicked the dad and Joey and Mom and Parker to the curb. I thought the show would have been fine with just Liv and Maddie. Because they did less and less of the dad. Joey and Parker did have things to do this season, but just not as entertaining as the first 2 seasons. And the mom was there, but she really didn't do much. They also do like the typical Disney thing where they have to point out a change in the appearance. Where in Good Luck Charlie, the dad lost a little bit of weight, so that became a part of his character. And in this show, the dad comes back with a beard, so they have to point it out. It's just always something that's kind of silly. It doesn't ruin the show, or it's not like something I don't like, but it's always funny. They're like, oh, change in appearance, gotta point it out. But yeah, I think that's really about it for season 3.